Facial eczema, Ewan, it's coming up again, isn't it?
It's not far away. It's something, if you've had it in the past and you're sort of wondering whether conditions are going to be favourable or not or whatever, and that you think that you may get into a bit of a problem, it's time to start thinking about it now.
What's the time frame it usually comes up?
Usually from about the second, third week of January, more in February, steamy, hot weather, through March and April. Just depending if we get a big rain, and which slows it down a bit.
I see here we've got on the screen, facial eczema is caused by a toxin, how do you say that? Sporidesmin.
Yeah.
Produced primarily by the spores of the fungus. Oh, good Lord. Why do you give me these big words?
Pseudodophomyces, toxicaris.
Pseudodophomyces, toxicaris.
Yeah.
Growing on pasture. I can say that word, pasture.
That's right, yeah.
The fungus grows in the dead litter at the base of pasture in warm, moist conditions.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a nasty piece of shit. You know, we're looking at Dairy New Zealand's site here because we want to look at the information that's out there at the moment and people's limitations to actually how it works. Okay?
Right.
So what we've found over time is if your soils are really functioning bloody well and the digestion of crappy material and you get a different pasture species change and you get more summer types of species, facial eczema is not an issue at all.
Okay. I was just thinking about the base of pasture in warm, moist conditions. Is that why they give these animals dry feed?
Well, you can get into the point of actually stuffing the cows full of like maize and dry feed to try and dilute the diet, to dilute the amount of spores that's going into cows. There's all ways of doing it. I mean, if you can go and have a look at the facial eczema site on Dairy New Zealand or Beef and Lamb, but I don't recommend following their recommendations.
Although we have their website there on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
So what is the key thing you want to mention about what they've said here?
Well, they're saying here, they do say some good things that you should look ahead and if there's going to be any issues, absolutely. And the whole issue is based around treating symptoms instead of the cause. So, you know, like as we go through this, we'll see some parts where you see that they found that when the nitrates are up in the soil, in the pasture, there was more spores. So they like acidic conditions, okay? So this spore likes acidic conditions. Now, if you've got your soil sorted out, you don't produce the acidic conditions. And the other part is that they also say the grasses are worse for it. Now, this is one of the things that we've really, really seen is that if you have high endophyte ryegrasses, they tend to have perfect conditions in the autumn for these spores to grow. They don't mind being acidic, they have high nitrates, and bloody hell, they cause trouble. And we've seen that before. I mean, God, I saw it with that Yatsen ryegrass, which I call killam ryegrass.
Yatsen killam, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What year was that? Farmers who are of your generation would know it from what year?
86,
So
87.
in 86, 87, it was hailed as a great improvement on a high yield, high producing grass?
Yeah, really high endophyte grass, and that the bugs wouldn't be able to eat it. Well, nothing could eat it, actually. The cows died when they ate it, and, you know, like it was just absolute mayhem. It went off the market pretty quick.
When you talk about the approach that Dairy NZ has, which is, symptomatic relief, as opposed to dealing with at the cause level, you're dealing with trying to resolve symptoms. Can I just cover off with my obsession about dry feed? Is that sort of symptomatic relief as well? Because it's also not dealing with the soil. It's also not dealing with the cause. It's kind of, here's a short-term solution for you.
Yeah, and it's not even a solution. That's the issue. It's like when we went through the process, and this is why I'm really hot on this facial eczema. When I was on the peat farm and 85, 80, well, through the 80s, late 80s, before the 90s, before I moved to Waihi, we had huge problems with facial eczema. And we were on peat, low pH, had been planting these high endophyte ryegrasses as we were told, and talk about cause absolute freaking mayhem in the cows. Just, you know, like knocking them, like I think over 10% of the herd were affected one year. And you were doing everything. We had maize, like we had lots of maize because we were trying to improve the pastures. And what we learned when we grew the maize, not to put high endophyte grasses in afterwards because it actually caused problems. And it just compounded. So you end up feeding maize out to try and dilute the amount of spores that were going through the animal that then got in the liver, and then it causes light sensitivity, and then all the skin peels off and the milk production crashes, and it's just a bloody disaster. And what we've got is a problem that it's a soil issue. it's not an animal health issue. It's an acidity and toxicity issue in pasture caused by the soil. Now, even like this here is a perfect example here. Perfect example of the impact of excess nitrate. So when we look at that, it was a study done in 1997 by Mr. Lane, and we look at the urine patch. Oh, the spore count was massively higher than where the dung patch was or where there wasn't any. Now, we know that nitrate's an acidifier. We also stimulates, so like in the picture there, you can see the stimulation of the ryegrass that was grown by the nitrates. And people go, oh, you can't grow grass without nitrogen. And you get the nitrogen right. And if you have a look at the nitrogen video, you'll see that you can actually get a balance, and so you get the pasture grown correctly. And so when they look at these processes, and you see the bottom graph, this is the, are they going to eat the spores? Well, so if you start at the top, there's not so much in the top part of the grass, but as you get down into the dead material, then there's a whole lot. So on the third day, if you put them in a paddock, they're under a heap of pressure and they're going to eat this stuff down. When you're farming dairy cows, they're just going to eat the top and down until they're going to get this every day.
Okay.
So you're just diluting it with maize. And then, at the time, around that 80s period when it was starting to become really prevalent, Gladys Reed came out with zinc. Give your cows zinc. Right?
That's right.
It was a huge, it had some real wheels on this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And God almighty, did she go through some shit from the powers that be?
Mm.
Oh, it's all bullshit, whatever. And now it's determined that
it actually worked.
It actually worked. But it only works to a level. It can help, but when the spore counts get too high,
right,
you can't help.
It's beyond assisting.
It's just gone beyond.
Right. Let's go to the next slide there.
So this is it. They, even if you don't see it in the cows, so the milk.
So the experts say there is no cure.
Yeah, yeah.
You're about to tell me differently.
Well, of course there's a bloody cure, because some farms get facial eczema and others don't. So obviously there is a cure.
Mm.
And this is the silly thing about research. I mean, we see it all the time. I saw something coming out there. Oh, we need another $10 million in research the other day about some daft thing that we worked out how to fix it long ago, and most farmers know how to fix it. But it's a continual gravy train. They just want money so they can go about thinking they need to do research, but they want to monitor stuff.
Mm.
Another perfect example of that, I think there's a government body on this nitrate issue. They came out the other day, they said they'd done 24,000 tests. There's no answer, but they've done 24,000 tests.
That's a lot of tests.
That's a lot of tests, yeah. So they've done a lot of monitoring and but there's no answer. So this is the problem, is that they don't actually go and look at what can solve the issues, and on farms that don't have these issues.
Now, just to clarify for dummies like me, where it says here milk production of animals with subclinical Fe, that's subclinical zinc, right?
No, that's facial eczema.
Facial eczema.
Where you don't,
zinc is still Zn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you see is that the skin hasn't started to peel. You haven't seen the pinking in the cows. The udder's not really sensitive. It hasn't gone into a photosensitive state yet. That's when you really notice this stuff.
So subclinical is prior to it being obvious as all heck.
Absolutely. Yep.
What sort of symptoms do they display at the subclinical level? Are they irritable?
No, well, that's where they say that's where it's not. When it's clinical, as soon as you start to see the irritation, the skin sensitivity and that. So they're saying that up to 50% of production can be crashing even before you get to a clinical state.
Mm.
So you don't want to be feeding this shit at all.
Can you just make reference to what we had on slide 1, and I'll just back through it, where we had the image of that cow and the sheep, which was really in a bad way, right?
Yeah, they're clinical cases.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
This one over on the right-hand side, that cow there, I couldn't believe it when I saw that. But you've seen that in real life?
Oh, hell yeah.
Is it quite common?
I mean, more common than you'd like.
That's like the back of the cow is peeling off. What exactly is left there? What is that? Just another layer of skin?
Yeah, it's just regenerating skin underneath.
Yeah. And is that, they refer to that as bad sunburn?
Well, it is because of the toxicity isn't taken out through the liver. It becomes photosensitive under the skin, and when they stand out in the sun, it just sunburns, and then it just peels off. And you'll see all the cows.
Hey, that's where that whole sort of relationship to sunburn and facial eczema is, because they're conflated as they're two different things, but they get conflated together sometimes.
Yeah, it is. That's right. It is a bad case of sunburn because of the toxicity in the blood and under the skin, and it reacts to it, and off it comes.
Yeah, thanks for that.
And you'll see them all charging around looking for trees and shade and that.
Yeah, can you tell us that story that you mentioned to us yesterday at your farm about finding that animal up to its neck in water?
Yeah, well, if we carry on, I will go through that process, because this is the issue that we're facing now. We'll follow it through. It's like there is no prevention. What a load of shit. Like there is prevention, is actually solve the problem, fix your soils up. But hear what they're saying is like low is less than 15,000 grams of pasture. Like this is a spore count per platelet.
Okay.
Slight 15 to 30, moderate 30 to 60, high greater than 60,000. So start early, 2 or 3 weeks before the spore growth danger period. Well, if you know it's coming, you need to be doing something about it.
Yeah, how would you know? I mean, do you base it off your history of how it was in previous years?
Yeah, so this is the thing, is if you know it's going to be a problem, you should be doing something that stops it completely.
Yeah.
So we're either going to a zinc spore, down the throat, there's a bolus, you can slow zinc thing. But the thing is that when I was confronted by the issue, when they said high, greater than 60,000, the first test we did was 300,000.
Whoa, 300.
Yeah. And so it just hit us like a brick wall. Our cows walked into these paddocks that were of this Yatsen ryegrass.
Mm-hmm.
They walked around the paddock and walked out again. They didn't want to stay there. And we stupidly locked them in.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the irritation was so quick. The response was just, oh my God. It was horrific. And then the photosensitive stuff, we peeled out cows, we fed the others lots and lots of maize. And, there was one day, it was like you go down to see these cows that you've peeled out, try to give them some shade, give them lots of maize and that, and there's 9 instead of 10. Where's the other one?
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it's in the drain.
Yeah.
And it's got through...
Sheltering or dead?
Nah, alive, but I mean...
Yeah.
But just to get out of the sun and to get some relief, she got in the drain. The water was water up to her neck, and it's like we just...
And she had that sort of condition on her back.
Just going, and we just shot her and dragged her out and got boluses to take her away.
Yeah.
But we put down a few that year, and we just holy shit, what do we do?
Yeah.
And we were following all the processes. Lots of maize, get into the zinc, let's keep going, let's do this, let's really fire this up. And still didn't make a difference.
No.
Well, it might have made a difference, but given where we were going, it still hadn't really made a difference.
Yeah, and the joke here is if you used enough zinc to deal with 300,000 spore count, you would have had a galvanized cow.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know if the dairy company would have liked the milk.
No.
No.
It may not have been good. So, do you have more to add to that in terms of that?
Well, it's an ability for the cow to detoxify using the zinc, through the liver. But we were getting so loaded. When you say it was high, and we were 5 times higher than the high.
Mm-hmm. Of 60.
Yeah. It's wow, man.
Yeah.
This was not going to work.
You've obviously experienced some pretty extreme cases in order to have this level of learning about it. Have you met anyone else who's ever experienced 300,000 spore count?
No.
Really?
Really, yeah. And I think it was just a cross-reference. We're on the peat. Peat's really low pH. We'd put in this ryegrass, has a high nitrate uptake. It's got high endophyte. Everything was a perfect storm.
Right.
And we had probably 50 acres in the cow's rotation of this stuff. And when we got to those paddocks and we were having trouble holding them in there, it was on the 3rd day when we, you got to go in that paddock, got to go in that paddock, got to get 3rd day, man, the cows were just kicking and booting and they were just totally irate. And at that point we realised we had to do something serious. And this is the point that I'm trying to put out to people is there's a really simple short-term answer, which has a long-term benefit, but you've got to fix your soils up to get rid of rights fungal species and get to whole process and summer species that want to grow properly in the summer, not full of nitrates and all that. Our head has to change to the way we farm our farms. But in the short term, My brother came across this old fella. He said, "I just put some lime on." What? He said, just put some lime, that'll fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, well, that makes a bit more sense. Like pasture spraying, you have to pasture spray before the spore count gets to 20,000. Apply when pasture has confirmed spore counts below 20,000. Well, we were outside that.
That pasture spray with what? Not lime?
No, it's a fungicide. And so, like, this is another crazy thing. It's like we're going to kill a fungus, but then we need to have the right fungus to come up and digest the feeds and all this. And fungicides aren't, we'll just kill that one. They just kill everything. So it's like you're paying to kill something when you're trying to fix a problem. It doesn't work.
Yeah, and you kill that fungus, which might actually, in the right balance of things, have its place to do things properly.
Yeah, well, in the right balance, it should just sod off this one.
Yeah,
because as soon as you get the pH right and rid of the nitrates and you get out of the endophytes, the bloody thing goes away. So, like, this was a no-brainer. We couldn't put enough zinc into the trough because we had the galvanised cows.
Yeah.
And
fungicides are quite expensive.
Yeah, and as soon as it rains, it's no good.
Oh, that's right. It says it there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I feel like I took you off track from the
no.
So
the whole thing is like you've got to go and respray. So, like, this is just a no-brainer. This is not going to work. Okay.
But what was the lime thing? Your brother met an old farmer.
Yeah, he met a guy from Nara, and he said, "Look, just put some lime on."
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And I get, well, we've got to try something. And I said to Mum, well, let's put some lime on the farm. Oh, I can't afford that. I mean, she was a bank manager's daughter.
Yeah.
Bank manager,
Yeah.
So we went out and we managed to get a load, and we did 1 tonne on one paddock, 2 tonne to the hectare on the other, and just left it a week or 10 days. We went back and retested it, took it into the vets to get it tested. The one we hadn't touched was still at 280,000. The other two were less than 20,000. So now we're in
just from the lime.
Just from the lime.
Wow.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
So as soon as we got them back, it was like, right, lime truck. So we worked out we could put 1 tonne to the hectare on, and it was enough to stop it. Didn't matter if it rained, because there was still lime on the bottom of the soil, and that was it lifted the pH enough, and it stopped the conditions for the spores. Instantaneous. So there is a remedy or a cure right at the start. And I put this as...
And a cost-effective...
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, lime's 60...
It's still symptomatic relief, though, isn't it? It's still a symptomatic resolution with lime because the ultimate solution is fix your soils.
Yes.
But it's better than zinc and it's better than fungicide.
Yes.
This is what the experts tell us. Now that you've got it, you should do this.
Yes.
Can we just cover this off? Because I want to contrast it against what you've been saying. Dry off affected cows immediately to reduce pressure on the liver. That seems reasonable.
Absolutely. That's a no-brainer. They dry themselves off. You don't even have to.
Okay. Put zinc cream on white areas of the coat and the udder if affected. So that sounds like I would do that in the summer in the 80s and 90s too.
Yep.
That yellow zinc cream on my face. Move affected stock into dense shade. Indoors is best. Hay barn, calf rearing, and implement sheds, ensuring access to a good water supply and supplementary feed. Feed cows at night so they're not exposed to sunlight, and stop hard grazing so cows do not graze down into dead matter where most of the spores that cause facial eczema live. Feeding maize and or silage can help, but cows will still tend to graze if they're kept on pasture. This is kind of maybe some good basics, I suppose, but it doesn't quickly get to the big point.
This is now that you've got it. And it's like, if you know that you're going to get it, or you're in a high danger area if you're going to get it, lime's cheap. Like, I mean, it's something like $65, $70 a tonne delivered to the farm.
Oh, that is cheap.
Okay. And so again, spraying and all these other treatments and everything else, by far and away, it's the cheapest thing you can possibly do.
Okay.
So that's immediate, solves the problem for now. And we did that. Like, we did the whole farm, and like, it stopped the issues, but there were so many cows that had been affected, still had, symptoms coming through. I think we culled 10, 15, maybe more cows. It was hard to know. I know we shot probably 10.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably half. It was 10% of the cows that I had gone out of the herd because of it. Bloody costly.
How big was your herd at the time?
165 cows. Well, I started that season.
Okay, so 16 is
Yep.
10%. Yeah.
Yeah, they were gone. Yeah, and we were first-year share milkers at that stage.
Okay, but I could imagine someone pushing back on this, so just correct me where I'm wrong. There might be someone that says, yeah, but Ewan, in 1987 when they came out with that horrendous Yatsen killam grass, that's not going to happen again.
Yeah, well, the problem was that it still was all over the farm too. Like, we didn't have the high count of 300,000, but we still were over hundreds. So we were still in danger mode big time.
So Yatsen just exaggerated.
Yeah, it was the multiplier.
A problem.
Yep.
Which is still at high enough levels to still be a big problem,
yes.
even when you go back to normal pasture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now in the year 2025 and beyond, we still have normal pasture issues that are bad enough to treat in the way that you're talking about, even though Yatsen was the magnifier to really highlight it in your journey to learn the right answers.
That's right. I mean, along the way, like the lime thing was one thing, and like I've learned over time is like if you can get the calcium base saturation up in the soil working, the fungal species, you don't have it because there's no environment for this stuff to live in, right?
Right.
But I'm just giving some people some advice here that if you've got an eczema issue and you've got to deal with it in a hurry, here's a quick answer.
Go lime.
Go lime. Go get a soil test too. Well, get a soil test through us so you can get a decent look at
what's... A decent panel.
Yeah, so you can get a decent look at what's going on with the farm.
Yeah.
But this is where I get really, really, really anti why these farmers, like dairy farmers paying, I don't know how many cents in the dollar or whatever, kilograms to Dairy New Zealand for this research. They came out last year and they said, lime doesn't work. So I've been trying to hunt.
Come on, they didn't.
They did.
They actually said it doesn't work.
Yes.
Well, I see people around our region using it quite a bit.
Yeah, but they said it doesn't work as far as facial eczema goes. But I've been hunting around looking for what they based that on. Now, 12 or 13 years ago, there was a girl at Caddy College who used the example of what happened on their deer farm. I didn't know before this. Mm-hmm. They'd put lime on the farm. They were having problems with facial eczema in the deer. Second year in, it was gone. Now, she used that study and those spore counts and the stuff that they were doing, and she did entered a national science competition and won.
Wow. Yeah, if I recall that story, she was like, like 5th, 6th or 7th form science or something.
That's it.
Yeah, and her project won for the whole country.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive, and no one followed up on it, right?
There's no money in it.
Yeah, because $65 per ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
And nothing. And so this is the problem what we have. And even yesterday when I was talking to our agent for our trace elements, he openly admitted, like it was university, you are pushed a certain way by who's wanting you to look at things in that particular manner. And I actually really enjoy these young guys that turn up from our suppliers. Mm-hmm. Some of them are really interesting people, especially if they're not in the farming sector because they haven't been cajoled one way. And the guy yesterday, he's great on his chemistry and he understands subatomic particles and stuff like that. Yeah, it was awesome. So we're having a great conversation about, all these things. And he's just blown away. He says, Jesus, no one talks like you about this stuff. It's like, this is our life and this is our farm. This is what we live.
Yeah.
And more fool us for actually believing people that have taken your money without your consent, then say they're doing research, and they don't even come up with the facts and figures for an answer that could solve a whole heap of problems and a lot of heartache. And I know what that heartache looks like. And I've been there. And I can genuinely say, they're full of shit.
What have we got up on here? Change your genetics.
Oh, God.
Is that the suggested solution sometimes?
Yeah, look, there's been some very good farmers that have actually changed the genetics in their sheep or found ones that were quite resistant to facial eczema and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it was really, it's really easy to change the genetics when you get facial eczema. The bad ones die.
So, yeah, okay, it's changing by default.
Yeah. It's like if you're changing your whole genetic process just because of a soil problem, don't you think you should just fix the soil problem to start with?
Sounds a lot better than changing through attrition.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that was like obviously the ones that had bad genetics for facial eczema for us were going to die. Not a very good way to go about it, you know.
Funny too, because bad genetics for facial eczema might not necessarily mean they have good genetics for milk production.
Totally. So we
just because you can survive an onslaught of a disease doesn't make you perfect for the other things you want the animal for.
Yeah. So basically, they're trying to utilize something or someone's gaining a benefit in regards to, oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to change the genetics, do this and do that. And what I've tended to find over time, and it seems really silly, but it's a bit like the carbon issue, is that if industry or big industry, Dairy New Zealand or beef and lamb or whatever comes out with all this blah, 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 then you'll see people coming up with ideas to fit in with that blah, 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 because it's a moneymaker. So, I have rams that are facial eczema tolerant. That's good. It's really good. Really good. Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with having a tolerant breed.
Absolutely. But like the same thing relies on this carbon issue. You know, like so at the moment there's all these forest fires down Porongahau in the pine forest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they want to plant pine trees in a dry climate because the government says it's going to solve the issue. And now they've just put all the carbon dioxide back in the air. Was that a good idea?
Clearly not.
No.
No. God, that's dumb.
It is dumb. So, you know, like we got to actually start educating ourselves and being far more aware of the reality of the situation. And it doesn't cost much. I mean, you can do it yourself. You can go out into a paddock and do your spore counts, and you can pick a patch of doing 20 by 20 and putting enough lime on and clip the sample and take it to the, you know, vets at the same time and look at the difference. It's like it's really easy. It's called science.
Yeah. Just a
Oh.
little bit of basic trial and error.
Yeah. It's called observation of phenomena. That's what science is.
That's right.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on now from the Dairy NZ information and come to this, which is,
Yeah. Just
spread some lime.
spread some lime. And we just picked this picture because we like aeroplanes. And
We like airplanes.
Yeah, we like aeroplanes.
Yeah.
But it's that simple. I mean, on hill country, it's more expensive, but like it's still the drama that you face with unhealthy animals, weight loss, and all the stuff that goes with it. And the lime will do some good.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really, really annoying on this side of this process, as far as pasture production and what they've written earlier on, if your soil gets really healthy, you do grow a lot of legumes in the summertime. Legumes don't facilitate facial eczema.
Good point.
Okay, and so with our pastures, in the summertime, you know, we're predominant red clover, plantain, whatever, which we didn't plant. That's just our soil conditions have come to this point. So we can actually go onto a long rotation of 40 days, which these guys are saying you can't do that. You have to get the grass short and stop this and stop the spore counts growing. And like, oh, whatever. So we got pastures up like this and we can graze them to the ground and there's no spores. So now we've already solved our feed issue in the summertime too. So we don't have to cut silage and all that because we just build the feed up. Because our soils are healthy and the plants we grow are really healthy, we don't have to use tractors and machinery and all that. The cows do the job for us. So what's happened, and I think we've got to be a little bit more savvy about this thing. The best farmer in the country is the ones that have been farming the farmer.
That's deep. Yeah, that's the fertilizer companies and
everyone else
all
is
that jazz.
farming you like a...
Yeah.
Because we don't understand. We send our kids to university and they teach them this much about what they need to know about agriculture. Or they lean them this way to go and learn this stuff here and going...
Enough to fit within the system so that they can be farmed.
Yeah. And so like I had a challenge this morning with someone on Facebook and we were talking about biological transmutation and he goes, oh, you can't do that. Show me the studies. And I said, oh, Lewis Gruvan. He says, oh, one study's not enough. And I said, there's a book full of them in there.
Yeah.
And they said, what about these other ones? Oh, well, just go to this guy and this guy. And, you know, just look at the Africans. They eat salt and potassium and, you know, like.
Chemical reactions are happening all the time.
Yeah, well, they're more than chemicals.
Things are changing state.
That's right. The atomic reaction. So, like, just because we've been told it doesn't mean it's so.
What was that other example? Why would a farmer or a vet suggest magnesium for calcium.
Oh yeah, the magnesium oxide. Why do you actually give cows magnesium oxide for a calcium deficiency?
Yeah.
Because these are the sorts of things that we should be allowed to think a little bit wider. If you go on the net, you can just Google up Dr. Google and put it out there. You'll be amazed what you can actually find. But because somebody told you that's got a big name and a lot of letters, and that's what I put to people, go and bleed and look.
What you were saying before, though, about less time on a tractor, less time doing processes, a huge time savings by getting the soil right. Can you go into that a bit more? Because that will probably please and annoy some farmers who think they're doing the best they can, and you can go, well, actually, you could save hours and hours of your life per day.
Oh, totally. I mean, the biggest thing, as soon as you start the tractor, it's cost money.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're going to do with the tractor costs you some money.
Mm.
So every time that you actually go out there and have to start the tractor, put on mag oxide or urea, or how many times you put fert on a year or whatever, all of these things, they cost you money. So who's getting the benefit out of that money that you were spending and the time that you're putting into it? And I use this example in my book. We were growing maize on the peat because we wanted to get our soils working to a state that we could grow grass and grass alone. And there was a maize seminar on in town, the dairy company were putting it on. So I just went along. I thought, I wonder if I could learn anything, because we were growing a lot of maize. And this guy got up and said, oh, well, you got to do this, and you spray this out and do this, and then you put this on it, and you put that chemical, and you put this amount of food on, and you da-da-da. And I'm sitting here going, and I said, well, hold on here. You've just spent $200 or $300 a hectare and da-da-da-da-da, and you got X amount of dry matter. I'm going, why did you bother? And anyway, by the way, if you put that gaucho shit down the spout, what did it do to the worms? And he just sat there and looked. He couldn't answer it. Like, it didn't take long to work out the costs of this whole process. Because I was already doing the maize and all that, I was going, why do you guys want to do this? This is a shit ton of work. This is way more work than what you want. And yet there was a whole lot of people just charged into it. And it sped up the destruction of their farms. Because somebody said this was a great idea and you were going to get X amount more milk solids and all that sort of thing.
Which sets them up for another situation of being farmed themselves later, where they'll need another product to fix that problem that they created there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing, perpetuating system. And so as farmers, we really have to be a lot more critical in our thinking and understanding. The problem is that up until now, people haven't been able to see what you can actually achieve because the money is all in the farming magazines or the Beef and Lamb Marketing Bureau or whatever else. Is like that's the predominant force behind what's going on. And like this here is amazing what we can do. We can actually show people what we've done, and we can show people what we're doing every day and put the science to it. This is just farming, It's just I've got a science bend. And I just love making things better. And so there's an opportunity to do this shit.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's a few people want to listen.
Yeah, it looks like it actually. A few people are asking questions, and we'd encourage people to ask questions.
Absolutely.
I think the other thing to encourage is please subscribe. That helps our little channel out. It gets the information out to people who, like yourself, interested in this topic. And if you find a piece in here that you like, send it to a friend. Share it with someone.
Yeah.
Because you'll be helping out someone like yourself who's got a similar interest.
Yeah, and I love questions, because the thing is, if you question yourself, you go, how did that work? What's going on? Invariably, if you look at it on a reasonably positive, a challenge is always an opportunity to get better. And when we look at the farm at home, I see stuff that I did 6 or 7 years ago that I'm still saying, my God, look at the change in that. Why was I so silly not to see what was going on at the time? That's growing more grass and all that. But it sets up an opportunity to understand things better. And as we go forward from this thing, it's like, yeah, you learn a few things, you make a few mistakes. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
A little bit of trial and error is okay.
Yeah. And it's quite good to just lie on the grass and laugh at yourself occasionally, about how silly you could have been. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't want to be seen by anyone else, go and find your hay paddock while no one's watching.
Yeah.
And laugh at yourself.
Well, I think that wraps us up. But a reminder to people watching, if you need to get your soils tested, reach out to efa.nz. That's www.efa.nz. Yeah. That's EcoFarm Aotearoa is where you end up. Ewan and Paula will be there to help you get things sorted. And you've got options. You've got a DIY option, and you've got the option that we have an agent who comes to your property and does them on a GPS basis and really find out from a comprehensive panel of what's missing on your farm.
Yeah. And in regard to what I've just talked about, if you don't believe me, try it out yourself.
Try it out yourself. All right. See you on the next one.
Cool as.